Hey there, my name is Malia, and I help teachers start and grow their profitable TPT store so that they can share their teaching resources with teachers around the world and make money doing it. Today I'm recording this video at the beginning of April 2025 so we can talk about the new layout changes that TPT just rolled out. TPT rolled them out with a little hiccup in the beginning, but that's okay. And now they're officially out, and I want to give my full opinion on it and hopefully give you some tips to help you navigate the new changes, as well as see some positives with this new change that they've rolled out. So here is an example of one of my product listings for a principal resource. Notice you'll have your cover image here, and then you have this grid, 2x2 grid of 4 image spaces. Okay. Before, we had our cover image at the bottom with the cover, and you could hover over each thumbnail and change it out in the big picture here. This is about the same size. To me, it looks a little bit smaller. It could be the size of my screen, but it does seem to me about the same size, maybe a tad smaller. But you can still see everything on here. That's fine. What really is new and what's different is the way that you can see the thumbnails and you can see the preview. Before, the preview used to just be a button, or it would you just didn't have it if you didn't have a preview. And you could also have video previews. Now, when they talked about this new layout coming out, they did not mention video previews in their town hall, and TPT didn't mention it in their blog or anything like that. So that was kind of a mystery until it actually came out, and I was pleased to see that it wasn't gone like some had assumed because they just didn't talk about it. So here is what it looks like if you do not have a video preview. I have 3 thumbnails and just a regular PDF preview. Here in this example is a layout of the product that does have a video preview. Okay, so the same as before where you have your cover image there, but this first thumbnail space is going to be your video preview. Now, it's a little hard to see because the play button has like a white background on it. I'm hoping that they make this a little bit more prominent or put something across it that says like video preview or click to view or something kind of like this button here to make it a little bit more prominent that it is a video preview. But to me, this is showing that video previews might hold a little bit more weight to your product listing, especially if they made it one of your first thumbnails here. I find that interesting because it never really was a priority before. PDF previews were always the better choice because people could scroll at their own leisure. You could fit a lot more content in there in a PDF preview. With a video preview, again, you're holding their attention span for such a short amount of time that you really have to nail it down and make sure you're showing enough of the product in action. I personally love video previews for things like this, where it's digital, where I'm showing that, this picture is becoming an object here. I've blocked it up so you can't see the answers, but you can still give the buyer an idea of what the questions look like. And then you can see that the picture is being completed and this is what it looks like. I like that you can also make it bigger. I use mine as a square image, and I just use this mock-up overlay from Canva. I make this in Canva. I don't sell it, so it's fine for me to use. But it's a square. You notice that I have all this space on the side that's black, where I could make it a widescreen or a horizontal landscape view, but it fits just fine in this square layout. So I'm gonna probably keep my video previews as a square layout just because it fits nicely in here and it still fits very well in this bigger screen. Okay, so that's what it looks like with the video previews. I don't mind it. Again, it's hard for me to see this little play button if you didn't know it was there. It took me a second to be like, oh, that's what that was. But now you know it's there. And then you can see that the rest of the 3 thumbnails are in the other 3 positions. Now, what's interesting to me is that if you don't have a video preview, you have your 3 thumbnails here in these 3 positions. And then that 4th spot is a button with a green background that's very TPT branded. This is kind of like what their background look like. If you don't have a banner in your store, it's kind of that green. Some of them are blue, kind of, I don't know, wave stripe pattern across it. And it just has this view preview button here. If you do have a video preview, your third thumbnail image is now stuck behind it here. I don't know if I like it. It makes me feel like I didn't need to have a third thumbnail, and having a video preview and 2 thumbnails was just fine. I don't know. That's my opinion. Especially because for me, this is a pretty cool thumbnail and I really like it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and if I wanted to view that, I would have to click view preview, which that's not a preview, that is a thumbnail. And again, that's something that like a seller thing to notice, not necessarily a buyer thing. And I really wish there was something behind here that shows off the product and not just this green space. I think I would rather even just prefer a view preview black oval button in a white background. Like, my colors are not green, obviously very TPT. This is TPT's platform, but I don't know, just not my favorite. So what I do like, however, is if I wanted to view this quickly and I wanted to take a look at the thumbnails, it drops me to just these 3 thumbnails. So I like that I can see it bigger now, but this is as big as they're gonna get. This is bigger than they were before, in my opinion. I don't like that there is this gray space. It covers everything to fit the height of the image, not the width. I don't think you have to change anything. It's still square. Square looks best here. It might look a little funky and distorted. They have not come out as of April 2nd, 2025. They have not come out and said there are any dimension changes or a way that you need to change the dimensions so it fits this, especially with your covers. Like, it doesn't fit this box as nicely. Hopefully that'll change eventually. But I also am not a fan of this blank spot. I would love for there to be something. Maybe they can give us a 4th thumbnail, and that can fit there. And I think that would be really helpful. It would also clear up this blank space. Just really nice. I think that would be helpful here. I do like this at a glance feature. It's kind of small and hard to see. So this means that your pictures on your thumbnails need to be really prominent. The pictures of your product need to be really, stand out. It's kind of like, oh, that's cool. What's red about this? Let me go check it out. If you click on it on a thumbnail, it's not going to do anything because my thumbnails are all here. But I do find it helpful when you have like a long preview file that you can click and say, oh, this is the reviews. Let me go check out the reviews. And it auto scrolls to that section of your preview file. I do like that. Now, before we go into the previews, the preview file part, I would like to mention that I don't think there's anything you would need to change about your thumbnails. But again, what you want to make sure of is that your product is shown in action. You can kind of see I have it. This is what it looks like. You can get a feel for the questions. You can kind of see that it's self-checking. You can read that it's self-checking and that there's an assessment version. And then you can see the final product, right? If this is a worksheet, here's an example of what mine look like here without the video preview. I think this looks great because that 4th spot is your cover. It all goes together. It's very nice and neat and well branded, okay? My text here is a little small. I'm getting on the small side. So I don't want to be text heavy, and I want to make sure that buyers can still read it in this like 3-inch, 4-inch view. So this is, you can read it, you can see it. I'm not worried about people screenshotting this. It's still kind of small, but you can see this in answer key, okay? So those are my tips for thumbnails based off of this, what I'm seeing with this layout. Now with your preview, before with the preview file, I'm not gonna talk about video previews just yet, but with the the preview file, the PDF file, you had this button that said view preview, and you could click on it and it would open a screen just like this layout here. Now, when you look at it, let's give it a second to load. Before, widescreen was the ideal option because it fit this 1:16:9 ratio widescreen very nicely. If you had a square preview file where maybe you merged all of your thumbnails together that are square and put them into a PDF, you had to scroll. You only saw like a third of the image of your thumbnail at a time. And that's fine. But I think this is a little bit more square because you can see I'm seeing this first this first page of my widescreen PDF preview, but I'm also seeing part of my second one. So if you have it square, that might not be a thing you have to change. I still think it fits really nicely to have one full screen of the widescreen preview size here. I think it fits really nicely, and it also gives the buyer a reminder, hey, there's more, keep scrolling, there's more to see, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. So I do like that. I do, again, like the what's inside, kind of this at a glance view. You can see the product. So again, if you have a lot of pages, make sure it's shown, make sure you're using colors, your brand colors, make things that are standing out so people are like, oh, standards. Let me go check out the standards. Or they might know what it looks like if they're familiar with your stuff and your products are very cohesive, your branding is cohesive. They know, oh, let me go check out some of the other related resources. Okay. Now, here's a controversial part or some shocking news. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, and I totally get why TPT did this. So many sellers will have a page in their preview file that says something like, you might also enjoy. They also have the section in their description as well, where you can link related resources, or you could upsell them to a bundle. Like here, I have a bundle. I have a mini pack, like an activity smaller bundle, and then like another resource that they might also be interested if they like this. So this, you can see once I hover over it, they turn green, and that's because they're hyperlinked to that product. So for example, if I want to check out this mini activity pack, it'll take me straight there. Okay, that's really nice. However, some seasoned sellers, if you have an email list, you have a blog post that's related to this product that tells the buyer how to use this product in a more detailed way, people would include that link in their preview file in their description. And TPT has said that any links within your preview file starting sometime in April, this is April 2nd, and it looks like this might still work because I can see it's hovering. Links outside of TPT are no longer going to be clickable and work. Now, I don't know if that means that you just can't click on it, or if that means that you just can't, see anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have this green. Right now, as of April 2nd, it does work, which is great. People can go get on my email list with my freebie from my preview file. They do work, however, when the buyer downloads the preview file to their computer, and then it'll be clickable to any link outside of Teachers Pay Teachers. Now, this includes links to your Instagram, links to your blogs, Pinterest, anything that's not teacherspayteachers.com should not be able to click out of the page, which makes sense. They want you, the buyer, to stay on TPT on their platform as long as possible. I get it. Totally makes sense. Okay, so there is like a short workaround. You could also have them copy and paste the URL if it's short. But if you want them to go to any page outside of Teachers Pay Teachers, you're going to have to tell them to download the preview file and go click on that link there. Because this will change sometime in April, they said. Sometime in the spring. So that's like a big part of the preview file situation we have here. So that's some big updates in what the layouts look like. Layout to this page overall. I like the way it looks for everything but the visuals. I'm glad that the cover is still like the same. This to me looks a little cluttered and a little messy. Especially if you have like a lot of stuff going on in your previews, and your previews your thumbnail visuals are already cluttered. This is just going to look even more cluttered. So if it's looking a little cluttered to you, not well branded, this is something that you may want to change about your thumbnails. I do like that the title is here and it's not as big. I also like that they give you the opportunity to follow your store from your link like very prominently. Like it's, to me, stands out a little bit more. For me right now it says download or edit listing because this is my product on my page, but I think the buttons are a little bit easier to see how you can like buy the product. Now, what I find interesting is, is on a bundle, it now tells you how much you're saving in a bigger way. So I like that. It gives me a better idea of exactly how much I'm saving. I am a math person, so I can quickly calculate it, but just visually seeing it like in red, hey, I'm saving $7.40 on this bundle is a huge win for me. And I think that's going to be really helpful. I do also really like that they have the description right up against the visuals. Before, I think you can see it in here, they had the reviews of what other people were saying underneath it, and then you had to scroll to see the description. And for bundles, or if this product is in a bundle, they would have this section between the review and the description. So you'd have to scroll even more to get the buyer to read your description. So I really like that now it's on the side of what this product is included. I love the sticky header of this, that you're like remembering what product you're on. To show the products in this bundle. Again, I love that it's listed here, and it allows people to see it. What was I going to say? So you can still scroll and see reviews and everything. This is something that I am still getting used to, but this is like my bio section, and you want to talk about your store, not just your credibility. And that's something I'm going to start changing about this. Like I talk about that I create guided notes, self-checking for these people, and then I talk a little bit about myself. People can always see more. It does have where I live, which is fine. Now, this is a part that I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, because the star and this heart look hand-drawn, which is kind of cool. But I'm also wondering, why do we now have to see the hundredths place of our store ranking? Because up on our store page, like when you go to your store, it'll say 4.8. There's no hundredths place here, and it rounds up, which makes me feel a little better. I don't care about the rating as much. Doesn't bother me. But on that individual product, when you scroll down, like look at all that space in between. That's kind of funky to me. But it says 4.77. That's fine. I know what reviews I have that are bad, and I have reasons why I keep them up. But to the hundredths place, now are we all going to stress about the 0.7 and the rounding? And, I feel like this is a student coming up and talking to me about, oh, but, it's above a 5, so can you round up? And then I can get the B or the A on my, end of quarter grade. Like, oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So, but then also this rounds to, if you have over thousands of followers, it's going to round to the hundreds place. And then I think here it gives you the exact number. That's just interesting to me. So yeah, I don't know. There's some things that I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's, it's consistent. But those two things are a little inconsistent to me, and I don't understand all this white space. I would just, if there's no products that it's in a bundle, like I see that's why this space under the specs section is empty here. But why not just keep scrolling, bump up this section to be right underneath here, or, if you don't have it, right underneath here. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of wasted space here that you could add. And that all that space is dependent on your description length. So my description is a little longer because I use like lists of things. But yeah, we'll see how this all works. And they do include a you may also like section of your own products. And I think this looks a little bit better, but again, it's all the way at the bottom. Why not put it a little bit higher up, or maybe fill it on this side? I feel like that might be a better place to go. So with all of that being said about these products, I think it's a much cleaner look, minus the visuals. I have thoughts that you heard about the visuals, but overall, I think the way that this page flows is a lot nicer and easier for the buyer to look through my product entirely. Okay, so the last section I want to talk about is here, this specs, what's included. Now, before, I can't show you what it really looked like before it because it's not on TPT right now, but I liked that it said the format of like what I was getting with the file, as well as how many pages. And that was something that I thought was really important, because when you're editing your listing, you can write, instead of a number, you don't have to say like 9 pages. You could say 15 questions. because sometimes it's more important to say, the content. As a teacher, for me, I would rather know how many questions there are than how many pages there are as a math teacher, because there could be 10 questions, but there are 4 pages because there's graphs and it's really spaced out. So page count for me doesn't really matter. I also personally would rather know how many activities there are in a bundle, rather than how many pages, because seeing like 88 pages, that's really overwhelming, where listing the number of activities to me like helps me plan out in my brain. Okay, so there's 5 activities, so that means I have 5 days of lesson plans, or I have 5 parts of this unit that I need. So that's gone now, and not gone, it's just hidden. It's now in the what's included tab for your total pages. And I don't think it said total pages before, but I'm still gonna write like 4 stations plus answer keys, 15 questions, 7 activities. Like, I'm still gonna write that and not the number of pages, because to me, for my niche and for me as a buyer, I don't look at the page numbers. Formats, however, is new. So before, it used to auto detect like what it was when you're uploading it. So if you have a PDF, it would say PDF. If you upload a zip file, it would say zip file. If you use the Google Upload tool, it would say Google Tools or Google Docs or Google Sheets or whatever. So that's really nice. But if you have a zip file or a Google folder that you're uploading to TPT, it's nice that you can now pick with the tags and filters and say, oh, it includes a PDF, it includes, maybe a PowerPoint file, it includes a Google Sheet. You can tell the buyers exactly what the things they're getting. Now, because it is hidden, I would say that I would definitely make sure that you're putting it in the what's included section here and breaking it down of like, there is a PowerPoint file, there is a PDF, there is a Google Slides. Like, tell them exactly what it is. So that's interesting to me. And then grade, subject, and standards. Standards are super important. I try to always tag Common Core, TEKS, and Virginia SOLs because you can, so why not? And then what's nice is that depending on your state, it'll kind of translate it into your state's standards. Just know that they're not always exact, so be a little careful. And then tags. New tags just came out. I'll link in the description here the list that TPT sent out of all the tags and filters changes that they're adding, things that are changing its location. But you can see inside, we'll just go inside this listing and take a peek. So if I want to go in and change the tags, so subject area, it's a little bit more organized and they added some new things. So you'll have to go in and look. I only really familiarized myself with the math one. They did take out like math in general, and now it just like says other math. I don't know, that seems very vague to me when it's just a math category. I would try to pick something that makes your product stand out, because the whole point of the filters and the tags are to, take it so that it's math, a big audience, and say, oh, but it's algebra, put you in a smaller category. And then from there, you can get into even more of a smaller pool of resources by having these tags. For subject area and tag, you can only have 3. Doesn't mean you have to use all 3. If it does not actually work, don't put it, okay? If you're like, I don't know about, adding homeschool. To me, you could put that in there, but if you find something better, use what is relevant. TPT right now is all about relevancy, so use what's relevant. For me, it's the fact that these are activities, it could be used as centers, and it's worksheets, okay? I'm kind of sad that the audience part isn't in like subject area. I feel like that is something that kind of is helpful. Or can we add like that as you pick one of these in here? I don't know. That's just another thing I just thought of. But there's lots of new categories and new ways that they've merged a few things, like the gifted and talented. I know that there was 2 different ones before, even though they're both, I think it was like gifted education and then GATE. And now I think, I don't even know where it is, but where it's listed exactly. But it's all, I think, under one topic. Yeah, GATE, gifted and talented. So it's now under one. And they also include some other like AP, IB. There's all these new things. So if you get a chance, go ahead and take a look, peruse through. They say we don't have to change anything, but now that they've added some really cool tags, like now escape rooms is a tag, I would go make sure that your tags are updated. Just go slowly. Don't rush. Just do a few at a time. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts in the new updates. Leave them in the comments or send me an email or a DM on Instagram. I am at the Malia Rivera, or you can email me Malia at maliarivera.com, and I'd love to chat about your thoughts on this new layout.